Go ahead.
When you have a group of members on the city council saying we will do anything to avoid bankruptcy, to me they're saying that I don't care what the city manager and the staff comes up with. You know, if the city manager and the staff says that we got to go through bankruptcy, as long as that group of council people say that they will do anything to avoid it, they're saying to me that we're not going to listen to the city manager, regardless of how competent his staff is, regardless of what he put before us, and say this is what we have to do. They said we're going to do what we want to do.
Okay. And that's, in your opinion, a big part of the problem right now.
The big problem is that the majority of the city council is not listening to the city manager and his staff. And I've seen that for years and years and years. And I've seen mayors who thought that, like I say, that this was a strong government, that this is a strong mayorship. And Willie Brown had a strong, and I know him very, very well. He had a strong, San Francisco has a strong mayorship, right? Oakland didn't. Jerry Brown wanted a strong one, you know?
Right.
Vallejo has a weak one. I wouldn't want to be the mayor in the city of Vallejo. I would rather be a city councilman. I never wanted to be a mayor. I never wanted to be a judge. I only wanted to be re-elected. I was not re-elected because I refused to go up and talk to a person who had sent word to me if I wanted to be re-elected, I had to come up and talk to him. So I wasn't re-elected, so I didn't go up and talk to him.
Okay.
And that person was in the position to get me re-elected.
Okay.
But re-elected to the city council isn't worth me selling my soul.
Okay.
You know?
So you refused to give in to outside interests.
I'm sorry?
You had refused to give in to the outside interests.
I'm supposed to be, I was on the city council to represent everybody in Vallejo, and I did that the best that I could, and I think that city councilmen ought to do that. You know, no one group.
Right. Okay.
Let me tell you what, we've had mayors and city council members for the last 35 years who think that they know what is better for the city. They don't care what the charter says, and they do that. We've had several of them, and it's just unbelievable that they think that way. I think that one of the things we ought to require for every candidate is that they take a test on the city charter, and some independent people grade them to see if they know what's in the charter, and I think we'd have a better city. I supported Penny Barclay, which was a black lady city manager, and she was very competent, but the city council didn't listen to her, and she told them you're headed for bankruptcy.
So people have really known about these issues for a long time.
Oh yeah, these conditions have been around a long time. Yeah. They've been around since 1969.
Okay. Which is 69 is what, when binding arbitration and
I think so. I think when the policemen and the firemen went on strike. Mm-hmm. But I think things got out of hand because we kind of just let it go, you know, and by letting it go, thinking that it's going to take care of itself, it isn't. There comes a time that everything has to come to a head or an end, and we now have gotten to the place where we are at an end, and we've got to do something to pull the city back together. We got to get the council working with the staff. You know, I'm surprised when I read the newspaper and there are 2 or 3 city councilmen who are saying the city manager did this and the city manager didn't do this. You know, if the people I'm not in it. My health isn't well enough. If it takes a recall, then we ought to have a recall. Yeah. And we didn't have to have a recall. When I positioned back in it, when I was on the council, it was just as bad. It was different. But it's almost just as bad because there were a bunch of young black kids, not kids, who would have set downtown a fire anytime if we hadn't worked with them. We set it up where they could come up on a Monday night. If they came up on Monday night, not on the agenda, you would have maybe 100. It was that many. Have maybe 100, and we had it set up where we can't see you, but we will have a special meeting on Wednesday night, and they had problems, and they had gripes, and we had special meetings on Wednesday night. However, if it was 100 on Monday night, it ended up being 35 on Wednesday. But when we talked to them, we listened to them, we listened to the problems, and we did things to take care of the problem. One of the problems was that we didn't have a juvenile officer. And the chief didn't want a juvenile officer because he said you have to be a sergeant. But a lot of the people who were getting in trouble as juveniles were Negroes. So what the council did is and the city manager, we said, well, you waive that. They waive it in Congress. That's a rule that you can waive. You waive that they have to be a sergeant. And so we got a juvenile officer. We had 30 minorities on city boards and commissions. We had a human relations commission, and Councilman John Cunningham is dead now. Cunningham Pool is named after him. He said that position has to be headed by a Negro. You know, these kind of things. People could look with the commissions out in the city. Okay, we had them from here, this area. We had them from Country Club Crest. We had them from Beverly Hills. We had them from South Vallejo. People could look out and say, hey, we're being represented now. Let's go up and talk to our representative.
Well, it sounds like you've been through some interesting and turbulent times in Vallejo. But right now, do you think the city would be better off if we removed binding arbitration from the charter and had a recall? Would that be a potential improvement?
I don't really know what would be better off like that. I think that let me put it this way. We got a city manager that I feel is competent. He has a competent staff. Whatever they come up with, I then am in favor and feel that would be better.
Okay.
Okay. Councilman Davis was the assistant city manager when I was on the city council. He was
Gerald Davis.
Jerry Davis, yeah, right.
Okay, I think that's about it.
All right. Well,
Mr.
thank
Brown,
you very much.
Thank you so much for your words and for your time.
All right.